I'm Holly Vasilakos.
And I'm John Vasilakos, and this is my wife of 2 months.
Before I met John, I was a single mom of 3 wonderful kids that I'm so blessed with. I had lots of help, lots of love, but I was drained. I had a job that wasn't financially providing. Went to another job that ended up being a worse situation and had to leave that one for my own safety, my kids' safety, just because of the mental pull it had on me. One of my absolute lowest points was coming home to our water being shut off, and my oldest son came to me and said, "Don't worry about it, Mom. I've already taken care of it. I called him. It's paid." And I remember as a mom, what a failure I felt like that my son had to do that and I couldn't provide for them. Having left my last job, and I just started praying. I was like, okay, Lord, what do I do? How do I provide? How do I do this? And as I began to pray, I was reminded of all these dreams I've had since I was a child. I have always wanted to decorate, remodel, redo houses. I have drawn house plans since I was probably 9 or 10 years old. And so this has been a passion and dream of mine that I've been able to fulfill. So for us going into Vision Builders and just thinking and dreaming about Game Changer Church, what Game Changer Church has meant to me, and just the thought of them having their own building and having a permanent residence, and the significance that is, and even the spiritual significance that is where they are planted. Going into that, knowing that Vision Builders, we're walking into this to plant seeds to grow that. So we get there, and then it was time to start filling out what we were gonna give, if we were gonna give anything, or if we, committed to praying for it, whatever it was. And the Lord had told me a specific number that I knew He was telling me that's what we were supposed to give.
We never looked at it how are we gonna do? We were just no, this is it.
And even when we both agreed on this number, it was definitely a stretch for us. We now have 5 kids between the 2 of us, and my house that I was in was a really small house.
I was in a 2-bedroom apartment. That was, it was big enough for myself and 2 little people, but we were how are we going to combine these households? And
that was another leap of faith that we were walking into. I remember asking his daughters, I was okay, what are you praying about? What are you dreaming about for your house? And they were we really want a 2-story house. Please get us a 2-story house. And we were okay, that's a lot. Who wants to clean stairs anyways? All this different stuff. And then the things that my kids had on a list that they had been praying for a house. And then personally, the things I had been praying for a house. We walked into a couple of houses and we were oh, this isn't it. And it was kind of more in our comfortable range of a budget, but they were not the houses. So anyways, we walked into the house we are currently in, and instantly we felt peace. I had tears in my eyes, and John and I were just we're home. This is our home.
Yeah, this is it.
Financially, we couldn't afford it at the moment. And we were just sitting here okay, this is going to be God. If this is supposed to be our home, this is going to be God. We put our application in, and it was the next day they reached out and they said, you have the house. That in and of itself was one of the first rewards from us obeying God and sowing into Vision Builders. Then my company started growing and growing and growing. The other day I told John, I was John, I feel guilty how blessed and how happy. I didn't know this existed. I didn't know you could feel this secure and peaceful, happy, taken care of, and just living life. And I know it is from when we started obeying God, and it was that first time. Not that was the only time we've obeyed God, but that was, I think, probably the first time
as a couple
we have heard God together. So it's just,
it's been an awesome season.
It has been.
It's been amazing.
Yes.
I've spent the last year and a half in one part of the detective division at my department. My sergeant came to me and just asked me, hey, I know you'd expressed possibly wanting to move over into investigating white collar crimes at some point in the future. And she said, she goes, might be 2, maybe 5 years before a spot opens up over there. So if you want to move over there, now would be the time. And it wasn't something that I was anticipating. So I talked to Holly about it, and she said, yeah, I think that'd be great, you know.
It was a peaceful transition.
Very, very
Yeah.
much so, yeah. And it puts me in a position where I get to do some different things, and I get a lot of very, very unique training that'll benefit me for years to come. So if you're considering getting involved with Vision Builders in the coming months, I can't tell you enough how like awesome it has been, and like Holly was saying, we just prayed, and you know, really like, you know, God, tell us what you want us to do, you know, and put our faith there.
God is able, and God is able to do above and beyond what you even think you're able to do.